Welcome to the Once and Future Authors Podcast. I'm Stephanie, and I'm so delighted to be joined by one of my all-time favorite authors. She might not even know that. She's chuckling. Debbie De Louise is the author of so many books. The Cobble Cove Mysteries is a mystery series that she does of cozy mysteries, all with cats, and anyone who knows me knows I am a cat lover. But she's also written other books, standalones in series. One of the most prolific writers I know. Welcome, Debbie. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. It's a pleasure to be here.
I have no idea how you find the time to be coming out with, every time I turn around, there's another book coming out, and yet you work full time. You have a house full of cats. You're a mom, and I don't know where you find the time.
It isn't easy.
Do you not sleep? I mean, I don't sleep.
I do sleep. I just write early in the morning, and sometimes I just get inspired and I write. It's just little by little. You just write every day and it adds up.
Wow. What time do you wake up and write in the morning before you go to
Oh,
work, right?
yeah. Usually I'm up around 5.
Wow, I'm amazed. So tell me about these series. And I know you have a new book that just came out, which I am just in love with the looks of it. Do you have it there? I think it's
Yes, I do. Can you see?
fantastic. The Case of the Crazy Cat Lady. And this is a new series that you're doing now.
Yeah, this is the Buttercup Bend mystery
Okay.
series. The name of the town is Buttercup Bend, where the mystery takes place. So this is the first book, and right now I'm working on the second, but I'm not going to give too much information about that right now. But the main character is Kathy Carter, and she's the co-owner. She and her brother own a pet cemetery and pet rescue center, Rainbow Gardens and Rainbow Rescues, and that's why, of course, the cover has a rainbow on it. But she's also a photographer, and her she volunteers for the newspaper, the Buttercup Bugle. And the owner of the Buttercup Bugle, the editor, is Pauline, who is also the sheriff's girlfriend. And Kathy's friend, Nancy, is a reporter for the Buttercup Bugle. And the two of them start sleuthing when they find out about the murder of the cat crazy lady, Maggie Broom, who came to town just a few years ago with a whole car full of kitties. She also takes care of outdoor cats. So, and then, the mystery in this series. And then I'm working on a new mystery with the same characters.
Fantastic. Now this is new from your Cobble Cove series.
Right. The Cobble Cove series. I also have a new Cobble Cove book. The series there's 5 books in the Cobble Cove series. Starts with a stone's throw. They all have either stone or rock in the title. Between a Rock and a Hard Place is the next book, written in stone. Love on the Rocks. And, there they are, yes. And No Gravestone Unturned, which was a Halloween mystery. Mm-hmm. But I also wrote 5 short stories that were eBooks. They were available as eBooks only. So what I decided to do was, because my readers, some of them were requesting print editions of the short stories.
Oh, okay.
So what I did was I asked my publisher if we could make a print volume. And I wrote a new short story to add to the volume. And I called it, the name of the short story was Sneaky Supernatural Mystery. So the volume is Sneaky Supernatural Mystery and other Cobble Cove stories. So all of the stories are in this volume. And one of them, Sneaky's Christmas Mystery, won the MUSE Medallion from the Cat Writers Association. So that's their highest award, and that was really exciting for me. We also have a kitty Kai, who is the other cat in town. Sneaky is the Siamese, the library cat. But in the fourth book, Love on the Rocks, we introduced a calico cat, Kitty Kai, who is kind of like she helps Sneaky solve the mysteries, or she helps him with Alicia, who's the main character. The 2 cats kind of help her. And she lives in the inn with Alicia's friend Gilly. So as you get to know the characters through the series, you get to it as the series goes on. I introduce different characters, but the main ones are there. But this particular book, the new one, follows the last book of the series, which was No Gravestone Unturned.
Now, are there going to be more books in the Cobble Cove series, or are we done with that?
No, I would like to I have ideas where we're following up from different events that happened in the last book, the No Gravestone Unturned, where the cousins came to town. I have some ideas for future books, but I'm focusing on Buttercup Bend because I only have the first book. So I'm working on the second book. I have to get that going, a couple of books into the series, because I'm going to alternate the series eventually. But I do have an idea for another Cobble Cove, but I'm putting that on hold for now. And that's why I put out so other readers can also catch up, because by reading the short stories, they also catch up. They can go back and read the books. But there's 10 of them, actually, 10 stories.
Not to mention, and I love this cover. I'm just going to grab this over here. I love your collection of cat poems.
Oh, Meows and Purrs, yes.
Love
that is a very, that particular book, each one of my cats, that not only my current cats, but my past cats are in it. Each poem was inspired by one of my cats. And also my mother, who was a big cat lover. That's how, of course, pet lovers. My parents both loved cats and dogs. And all these poems. And then I have a cat crazy lady poem, and I have each one of the poems. It's a great book. I have another one coming out too, The Memories of Meows.
Oh, really?
I think I sent you the cover. It's not out yet.
Oh, okay. That keep up with you.
But it's actually a reprint of the book I self-published, Pet Posts.
Okay.
But my publisher, the next chapter, who does the one you just had, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, the poetry one. Yes. And also the new one, The Case of the Cat Crazy Lady. They're going to reprint it, and there's some changes in it now.
Really?
The cover is different, and there's some editing. So, but that really is all about all of the cats I've ever had. I have, my current cats, Harry and Hermione and Stripey, who recently passed away, and my old cat Floppy, who was diabetic, my cat Holly, who also had cancer like Stripey. And all of them, their stories are in it. But also some fun things. There's a short story that the Holly cat wrote, a short story, and illustrations, photos of the cats, photos of me when I was young holding one of the cats. And, it's a fun book. It has health information. It has health information and cat behavior information, also told through the eyes of the cats. So a lot of it is from the points of views of the cats. And also, we have different information in there too.
Now, do you always decide what you're going to write next, or is it just what moves you next? You have so many projects going on.
It's hard to keep track of that. I have one book I put aside. It's already written, and I had it beta read. Like the Case of Cat Crazy Lady. It was written in 2017.
Oh,
but I didn't get back. I was sending it out to agents. I was having it beta read. I was doing other things, but I was also working on my Cobble Cove series, and I was putting out books. So a lot of books that I have are put aside. I have one book I just finished. It's a time travel, because I also have the time travel with the cats, my Time's relative. Mm-hmm. But I also have another book now that's sort of like a time travel book, but it's a little different. And that I'm done, but I'm not publishing that yet, because I'm working on the series.
Gotcha.
But yeah, and now I got inspired by with the Red Penguin collection, that I have written stories. I'm inspired with that new space theme, because I wrote the science fiction. If you remember the Phil and Day mission, the one I wrote with the cats.
Yes.
I'm going to have a second story I want to submit.
Oh my God.
It came to me. Return of the Feline Day. It has to do with, it's going to have to do sort of with COVID. It's like, I'm not revealing that. And cats. But I come up with an idea and then I have to write it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I have to put certain things on hold, and I want everything I've written to be published eventually. And I've written a lot.
You have written a lot.
But then I write new stuff. So everything has to have its time.
And I love that you don't, some other people would write something and then kind of put their life on hold until that reaches fruition. Do you know what I'm saying? And it sounds like you write something, and if the time is not right, or it's still with beta readers, or it still needs time to gel, you've moved on to something else, and you've got all these things that eventually you do want to bring to fruition. But what I love is that you keep moving forward.
Well, that's the thing, sometimes with my newsletter, I have different quizzes and surveys for readers to ask them what they would like. And they did want me to start the new series. That was a suggestion.
Oh, really? Okay.
And so I said, this is the time, because they were when I told them about the book, I said, all right, I'm not going to wait any longer then. I'll, send it to my publisher and then we'll work on it. And then I already had an idea for the follow-up books in the series. I already had like 4 different, for the next books. So I just start thinking about it. And then as I start writing, different things happen. I change my mind about certain things. I kill different people. It's not always what I start with the idea, but it goes in other directions sometimes.
Right.
And I go with it.
And you go with it.
And I got like my cats, Harry and Hermione are going to be in this next book.
Really?
And yes, they are. And there's a way I fit them into it. I'm not going to give that away, but there's a way I fit them into it. Because that's where I get my inspiration, right? What these cats, my experiences with them and the funny things they do, and just like the whole thing.
Have you written a cat character that you wish you had that cat as your pet?
Well, most of the cats that I write about were cats that I had, or like Sneaky, was sort of based on Oliver, my Siamese. He was a younger version, and I've had, a lot of Siameses in my book. I mean, I had, when I was younger, my mother loved Siamese cats. We had Siamese cats, but we had a lot of other types. We had all types of cats.
Right.
But the personalities and the different things that they do are really reflected in the characters I write.
Right.
The cat characters. But there are, of course, I put other things, I change them a little bit, and just like the characters. Some of the characters are based on people I know, or people I've known.
Sure.
Right.
And
but then I make up like in the cat crazy case of Cat Crazy Lady. Brody Broom is a funny character, and I've had him. I have a chat group in Facebook, and I find he's a unique character, because I don't really know anybody like him. But the way I made him, at the beginning, you may not like him. I mean, he's a suspect in the murder. He's the brother of the victim. But he's a suspect, and he's been in jail. He's done drugs. But then you find out some things about him. And I just like the way his character evolves in the book. The way he starts out. I like to do that with certain characters. The way they all change in the books. I mean, Alicia at the beginning, when she first came to Cobble Cove, she was a widow. She didn't realize that her husband died in a hit and run accident. She didn't realize that it had been murder. And then she ends up investigating it and being part of it. But then she evolves from like being sort of innocent about things, and then, finding her, just developing as a person, and as, her sleuthing ability, and, becoming, changing. And that's what all the characters in the book change. But I enjoy doing that. I enjoy developing them from the beginning of the series, and as the series goes on. And I developed the cats too, because in most of the Cobble Cove books, up until I started the stories, up until Sneaky's, they might have been, and No Gravestone, that was the last book I wrote. And then the stories, the cats talk to one another, the humans don't understand what they're saying. They're sort of like language between the pets.
Yes.
The dogs are in there too. I have a German Shepherd, and I have another dog, Gilly's dog also, the Beagle. So I have two dogs also.
Mhm.
And that one book at the story at the end of Sneaky Supernatural Mystery, the book that the story that I just wrote,
Right.
barking up the wrong tree,
Okay.
has the dog Fido, which is Mac's dog, which is her father, Alicia's father-in-law. He plays a big role, and all the pets get involved in that story. The two cats and the two dogs. So they're all involved in it, but they all communicate. The cats and dogs can communicate with one another, but they don't, the humans don't know, but the readers know because they, in italics, their conversations, they can read. So they know what's going on.
Now, you were saying about the characters developing, the human characters, the cat characters. Do you know when you start where you're going to go?
Not really. It just kind of goes where it's going to go.
Where it's going to go.
I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. I don't want to boast or anything, you know. There's something that I have a talent for in this area. I don't know. I just can't
do. You absolutely do. I
can't explain it. I don't know. It's just I write and it comes, and I don't try to edit a lot. I try editing sometimes, but it's like I write the whole thing and then I go back and I make changes or whatever. Because I let it flow and it has to go in certain ways. I don't want to hold anything back. And
no, that's fabulous. I guess the question then is, if someone else doesn't have that same flow, is there something that they could try to do to get it? I don't know.
Well, you know, there's all these exercises that you could do, just with different prompts, writing prompts, maybe. I don't know. I can't, it's not something you can teach somebody. I think it's just something that, you know, I mean, I don't feel like, you know, I know there are writers better than I'm, a lot better than I'm not saying that.
You know
what I'm saying? There's just something that I'm able to get this stuff down, and it isn't difficult for me. It isn't hard.
Well, you know what I'm hearing from you is that you stay out of your own way.
Right. I don't overthink.
You don't overthink. Exactly. I often think that we humans are our own worst enemy, and I think that goes in writing too. And it sounds like you managed to stay out of your way, which is good.
Well, it's the creativity. If you overthink things, you just ruin the creativity. You just, you know, it's just, you block yourself, like you're saying. You actually block yourself. So I enjoy writing, and maybe it's because I enjoy it. I've always enjoyed it.
Right.
That it's a creative expression. It's something that I like to do, and I find that it's not hard to do, but you could make it hard if you, you know, that's the thing. You can make it hard, and I try to avoid that. You know, because people get writer's block or whatever because they don't let themselves go. You got to use your imagination, but you just gotta just write how you feel, and really, like, sometimes you really get into it. I get into the characters. Like, I can go to the next book and I can go back and I know what they're going to think. I know what they're going to say. I get into them, whether they're pets or whether they're people.
Now, when you have a new character, because you also have, and I'm going to share this here, you have a number of standalone books.
Right. Oh, yes.
And, you know, I have here some of your standalone books. We have Reason to Die is one of your mystery standalones. You have a number of science fiction standalones. Times Relative is one. Oh, let me go back to mysteries because I forgot about Seascope.
Oh, yes, one of my favorites.
Yes, no, I agree with that one. It makes me want to go on vacation. And Memory Makers. Now, with these standalones, or even with a book that's the beginning of a series, does it take you time to get into that character? Like, Do you find yourself the first couple of chapters like still kind of meeting these people before?
Yes, yes. It's like, right. It's like developing a relationship. It takes time.
Yeah.
And I gotta say that when I wrote Seascope, one thing about Seascope, and it won awards, Seascope is one of my favorite to write, where I have the characters when they're adults and then 20 years ago when they were children.
Mhm.
And I'm I get into the how they were as kids and how they are now. So that was like very interesting. And I have thought about a sequel to Seascope, so that's something that might one day, but that's one day. These are all my thoughts. See, some of the other ones, even like I have actually for Times Relative, because that one I had written a long time ago. And one of my first writings, I had already planned, a sequel to that one. So I have some plans for that one too.
Good.
Not memory makers. Some of them are just gonna only be
Just
that
done,
one
one and
book.
done, right?
And one day, maybe I will do the sequels. I actually started a Seascope one, but then I put that aside. And I have 2 other books, but
Gosh.
but in answer to your question, yeah, you as you start writing, the characters are developed and then you get to know them.
Right.
And I just
Does that mean you have to go back and kind of look at chapters 1 through 4 when?
no, but
Like,
when I write the series, not necessarily, I just know. But when I write the series, I sometimes have to go back, and I'm having a lot with the short story. I'm
Mhm.
going back. Of course, the later I wrote it, I mean, the further from the time I wrote it,
Right.
it's harder to remember. So
Mhm.
I sometimes actually have to go back to the book after it's published, some of the books I've written to see, different things about characters or when something happened or what somebody looked like, it's different things. And I keep the character charts. I have those and some of the notes.
Tell me
But,
about a character chart. What's on a character chart for you?
well, it's, I don't keep a really, I wish I kept a more detailed character chart, but basically it's very simple. I just, describe the character, whether, looks, just basic looks, and relationship to the other characters in the book, basically.
Mhm.
And as I go along and I add characters, I add, like with the Cobble Cove, instead of, when I started it, it was the Stone's Throw, the characters in the Stone's Throw. But
Okay.
now I have a Cobble Cove characters. So from each book that I've added new characters, I add to that chart. So, and I sometimes go back to people, the Sneaky Supernatural Mystery, I go back to one of the books. So if somebody, and there's notes for each story. So I have notes about the story, how it was inspired, when it was written. But with Sneaky Super, which is the latest one,
Right.
I go back to Written in Stone, something that happened in the 3rd book. And I don't reveal the whole thing, but it's something that the reader might say, that sounds interesting. Maybe I should go back and read. So a lot of these stories will include information from the previous books or the previous stories,
Right.
so that people might want to go back.
And you had to go back to remind yourself what
I
happened.
do. I did. In fact, the funny thing, when I was working with my editor for Sneaky Supernatural Mystery, I had something. Oh, the Kitty. It was Kitty Kai. There were a few other things that I had. Was it Kitty Kai? I had her name written wrong, like I had the spelling wrong. But there was also, the hotel that they had from Written in Stone. The hotel was different. You find these little things.
Mhm.
And there was one thing that I remember, well, the editor had to change everything. It was so silly. It was a simple little thing, but it was like one letter off. It was crazy, but I had to go back and look for it.
Mhm.
So you got it, because, mistakes are made in books sometimes, but sometimes readers will
absolutely.
notice them. But
Absolutely.
yeah, so.
And how many books total have you written that are published so far?
The series, or including the series?
Including
Well,
series.
they're on the website that you can see. I
Right.
think there's 12, I think. I don't know. Well, we're not, if you're not counting the short story, see, they consider
I
the
see
story.
16 books here on your website. I'm gonna just pop
Well,
here.
I wrote all the Cobble Cove are 5, but now
Right.
the new one is 6. Okay, let me see.
Right.
No, that's 16, that's 14.
Oh, that's 14. You're right. That's 14.
Okay. I think that's all of them. Now, Memories and Meows is not out yet, but it's a reprint of the Pet Post, which now is not, it's different. That's
Okay.
the new title. But yeah, the poetry book, then
Right.
the series, Oh, Cloudy Rainbow was my first. That was a romance. That's the only romance that I've written, but
Really?
it's like a paranormal.
Okay.
Oh no, I have, you know what's not on here? There's another romance, When Jack Trumps Ace, but that's a novella.
Okay.
It's in book form, it's a novella. That's the other romance. But the Cobble Cove, the Stones Throw, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, up to
Right.
Gravestone, and then the new one.
And
They're
then-
on the bottom row.
Yep,
Except,
that's the bottom row, except for the first book there.
and then the standalones are on the top row, except
Right.
for the new cozy
Right.
and the other one, which is a nonfiction cat book.
Yes.
And then the poetry book.
And the
So
poetry.
the four Reason to Die is a more of a police procedural mystery. It's not really a cozy. Seascope is it's a murder mystery.
Murder
It's
mystery, right.
not, but you know, but all my books have like cozy elements. There's an inn in Seascope. They all have cozy elements. Memory Makers is like a thriller where, you know, she was kidnapped as a child and she's going into the clinical trial for memory to find the killer of her sister.
Right.
Times Relatives, time travel. And
how many years have you been writing? What does this all represent in years?
I have stuff going back. I mean, publishing since, the first book, Cloudy Rainbow, was 2007.
Okay.
But I didn't write much. I didn't write anything after that one until 2015. So I've been writing like 2 to 3 books a year since 2015.
2 to 3 books a year. Okay.
About 2 to 3 books. Like this year, I already have 3 coming out. You know, now the 2 just came out, and then I have the 3rd. But they all seem to come out at once.
We're barely in the summer.
Well, you know,
that's why I said I don't know where you find the time. 2 to 3 books every single year for the past several years, and it sounds like there's more and more books right there in a drawer, on a file, on a computer somewhere. Just
yeah. I'm trying to track some of them down, but you know, I try to focus on, you know, like now with the series, I want to launch that, get that off the ground. But I have a lot of I like to write standalones too.
Yes.
And I like to write sequels to books like Seascope, such a good book. I'd love to write. People have asked about it.
I'm sure.
Yeah, that could even be a series, you know, with the inn and the, you know, but I don't see that. I see maybe a second book.
Okay.
But the Buttercup Bend and the Cobble, I'd like to continue to Cobble Cove. I don't know if I know people are still reading them. I'd like to continue it. It's just that right now, like I said, I'm working on the other series.
Got a million other things on your plate right now.
Yeah.
That's just so inspiring. And anyone who, you know, others who write one book in 10 years and say, I don't have the time. So I said, you have a full-time job and pets and family and everything else going on, and somehow are writing and releasing 2 to 3 books every single year. You're amazing, an inspiration. What do you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to start writing?
No, I just said that I don't.
You get up early.
Yeah, and you know, there are times when I'm not writing, but when I'm working on a book, I try to do a little each day. I try to write a chapter or part of a just a scene, you know.
Gotcha.
And then it adds up. And then of course the editing is after I write it, then I let it sit for a while and then go back to it. Because if you start, and you should see you know, you always find things.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've been reading it constantly, you're gonna miss things. You gotta let it sit. And then, you know, you work with beta readers, they point things out. But you always, you know, you have to know what you feel the book is. You know, they may make a suggestion. You may say, I don't really agree with that. Mm-hmm. But then some people, I had an editor look at the Case of the Cat Crazy Lady, And she made a very good suggestion about Kathy, and I changed it. I had her become, well, the scene at the beginning, I had her work as a photographer for the newspaper. That was different. That was added. That's not how I wrote it originally. She was just the pet rescue. But I added that little element, you know, that what could she do for the newspaper? And I added her being a photographer. And she has a good eye for things. But her friend Nancy is the one who gets her into sleuthing, who really is more. Kathy is shy. She lost her parents. You'll know when reading the story, she's got a lot of issues where she just finds it easier to be around animals, to be around pets. But her friend is more outgoing and pushes her into things. And together they work together and they are able to, you know, as the series is going to develop and it's going to change certain things, because there's a twist in the book. I'm not giving it away about.
Nope.
Yeah.
We don't get spoilers here.
No. But there will be a blog tour for both of the new books, and Laurie Caswell does the Great Escapes virtual book tours. And starting June 14th, the Case of the Cat Crazy Lady will be on tour for 2 weeks. And, you know, Great Escapes virtual book tours. So there'll be I'll be sharing it on my social media. Awesome. There'll be guest posts and reviews and spotlights and different things for the book. And then we'll have Sneaky's book, the Cobble Cove book. The short story collection will be in July. I think I have the list of blogs. That's going to be for about a week, July 18th to the 25th. And they'll be the same. You'll be on the same tour. I mean, It'll be a different tour, but.
Well, I want to make sure that all of our viewers definitely go over to your website at debbiedelouise.com. I know there's a sign up form there. There is so much going on. Every time I turn around, there's a new book coming out. There's, you know, whether it's short stories, whether you have a short attention span, whether you want novels, standalones, cozies, whatever it is, Debbie's got something here for you. So make sure you head over to her website and sign up for her newsletter. Love the newsletter. I'm on the newsletter list.
Debbie's Drafts is the newsletter, right? And Rough Drafts is the blog. So there's two things. From my website, you can sign up for the blog, the newsletter, both of them. The newsletter comes out, you know, once a month usually, but if there's a special, if there's a sale or something going on, it'll be out. And I have giveaways once a month and different things going on. I mean, I spotlight certain other authors that I've started. Yeah, I'm including them, recommended reads.
Great.
And then the blog.
Yes. So definitely make sure you sign up for the newsletter, the blog, follow Debbie. You've got to catch up, folks, on reading all this stuff, because she's just going to keep writing it. So we will need to have to read everything and catch up on it. Always such a pleasure to have you on, and love reading you. Keep on all that fabulous writing, Debbie.
Thanks so much, Stephanie.
Oh, my pleasure.